Alright, just about ready. I just got finished eating.
Eat faster.
No, I'm like shoveling food down my face. Yeah. My microphone sounds alright.
Good. Unless you're eating, then it cannot not bad.
I want to talk. So I had to, I didn't have time, like, at my work I don't have time to sit down and, like, had some time today, so I did it on my phone, so I'm gonna be reading some stuff off that. Alright.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, might as well. Sure. If anyone wants to work Sunday, I need to. Throwing it out there.
You need to play or you need to...
I need 2 players to work for my team on Sunday. I needed 1, and then someone else had some family stuff, some emergency had to go, and now I need 2. I don't want to cancel again, so, you know.
I'll be online Sunday. If you're still missing players, you can ask me. But I'm shit, so...
It's better than not playing. I mean at you.
Okay, Joe, to start things off, I wanted to talk about what the role of a skulk is. So, in your guys' opinion, what would you say is the role of a skulk throughout the game?
Res biting.
Scouting, res biting, and killing in that order.
Anyone else?
Or
anything else?
Parasites constantly.
Yeah, a lot of the things you guys are saying are all like really important things for the skulk to be doing. But the thing about the skulk is, you know, it's the life form that you start out with, and you're gonna have one throughout the entire game. And so the role of the skulk changes throughout the game, and they're easy to know what they are. It's the early game, the mid game, like a game-defining moment. First, the early game, you want to have every advantage that you can at that time. The first thing you can do, and you can only get this with one guy, but you don't see it very often, is one of your skulks at the very start of the game can wait for the gorge to drop his tunnel and wait for the gorge to drop babblers and get babblers. That's essentially giving you a free upgrade at the start. You have like carapace to start with things out. So use everything to your advantage. first engagements, especially your very first engagement, you want to try and get parasites before you know what you're getting yourself into. You don't want to. It's just one marine there, and then find out that he has a skulk, or he has a marine that he's baiting for, that's sitting in the back. He's going to clean up you and anyone else behind you. So you want to get the information. So you need to start off with parasites. So before a fight begins, you want to get the parasites. So instead of going, I mean, I end up doing this in gathers because I'm just like, don't really care as much. But when I'm playing a match, I'm never really just diving in to Skylight's first engagement. What I'm trying to do is I'm getting the information, and then I'm seeing which side they're stacking at the start and which side we can crush, which side you can take your early engagements on and which side you can't. So when I'm coming down, I'm starting at spawning a cargo or a sub, I'm coming up here, I'm stopping here. No, it's hard to do this one, have to use push the key. But stop up here, get the parasite. Can we turn on I don't have my crosshair. Where's that at? At the ready of the game or something. I'm thinking I might turn off my local recording. It's giving me a really choppy FPS. Then I'm gonna turn on push to talk as well.
Is cheats on, otherwise it won't stay game.
Give me 1 second, I'm gonna just turn on push to talk. Okay, that should work. Alright, sweet. FPS is good. Oh, like, can you just check my stream to make sure it looks fine and everything? Maybe you can take that engagement with your teammate, but wait for him. Because if you get cleared and then your teammate is stuck there in a 1v2 now, they're going to be pushing down your lanes and they're going to have all the pressure, and you're going to be having to react to them instead of having setting the tone for them to react to you. So get the information in your first engagements. Now also, going on with that, you need to be focused on res biting, and that's like a common theme you're going to see throughout for skulks is, the res biting. There's parts of the game where it's really important, parts of the game where you can relax a little bit and focus on teamwork and team plays. But early game, yeah, you want to get the res biting. And the thing about early game res biting is a lot of times you're not going to be able to get the entire RT down because they're all still, they haven't pushed yet. They're going to have people reinforce their first RTs. And it's just, getting their first RTs are usually just more difficult. But what you can do is just get some good damage on them at the start. So let's say we clear Topo and I'm the last skulk that remains. So there's 3 skulks on Topo and I'm the last one. Yeah, start biting it, get the parasite on it even too. Get some bites. And once you hear the Marines start rotating in, back up, try and get a parasite, and then what you can do is just delay them. So many different tricks. You can play up and around. Like in Topo, you can just hide behind this thing. Delay them as long as you can, because what's that doing? Stopping the Marines from pressuring any of your RTs. Giving your Gorge the freedom to build Nano or expand all the way to Pipeline if you're starting in sub. That's really what the early Skulk needs to be aware of. He's delaying Marine pressure and getting the information for the rest of his teammates. Now, there are times when you are going to be forced into engagement, and those are the times where your Gorge gets caught out of position. And those times, you do want to engage without the parasite. Just you're trying to back them up. Same thing would go if your teammate makes a call, and even if it's not the best call, you still want to back up that call. So if he's saying, let's go on these 2 guys in Skylights or C12, he goes in and you want to fall in and I always run, see how right now I have my parasite out. This is how I always move around the map. Move around like that, because you can, if you see a Marine, you can parasite him, and at least you have the parasite if you don't get the kill at least. But you parasite, so he's right here, jump in, and, you know, parasite, 2 bites in the first engagement, that will always kill a Marine. There is a trick, I don't use this, but I've seen, like, Heracles uses this sometimes. Do the bite, parasite, bite, and it's like a much quicker way than parasite, bite, bite. Because watch what happens when you do this. A lot faster. You can kill, it's a lot more difficult because you have to land the parasite in the middle of a fight, and a lot of times when I'm fighting, I'm moving around like crazy, and it's a little bit harder to get that second parasite. But when you're moving around the map, like, you're focused on which direction you're trying to go, and it's easy to, like, oh, just turn to your side and parasite. But when you're, like, taking an engagement, then you might get caught up, you know, accidentally stay on your parasite when you want it to have your bite out. Means stop pressure from happening. Yeah, so the reason why this is all important is because Marines can do the most damage early on in the game. Cysts aren't matured, gorge channels aren't fully built, there's not PvE everywhere. So if they can get through one of your lanes, like Summit for example is a good map to talk about that. If they get through one of your lanes, they can completely deny an entire side, and for the rest of the game, essentially. Unless your team's going to group up and clear that, and that's a really costly investment for your team, because that means you're not res biting, you're just defending, you're responding to their movements and not setting the tone for yourself. But for a map like this, very often you're going to need to clear nano. And a good rule of thumb is, if there's 2 Marines in nano, you want to have at least 3 skulks, or 4 skulks, I would say. You know, you might get lucky with 3, but 4 skulks, or you can have 3 skulks and a gorge to clear that. The reason why that many people is, like, nano's a very important part, but also as soon as you clear that, there's going to be another Marine rotating in, and that's what's going to get your gorge down. That's how you're going to lose RTs and gorge tunnels all throughout the game. Those rotating Marines, especially in nano, because they can rotate from system, they can rotate from junction, wherever. But yeah, move on to the mid game though. So what do you guys think about Skulk's mid game? When do you guys struggle the most as a Skulk? When what?
Late game.
Late game?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that in a little bit, but so the reason I would say mid game for me is more tough is because that's when shotgun comes up, and that's when you're getting one shot by the Marines, or they have better upgrades, and Skulks just can't match up with the upgrades at that time. So during mid game, you need to rely much more on your teammates. The most important thing for this is to keep RTs down, and the reason for that is it slows the tech down. You get the Marines off phase gates, which allows the rest of your team to take gates. So if they have a system gate, if they're down to a couple RTs, they're going to need to pull back and pull people off gates, and that allows you to create some space for the rest of your team to take that gate. What else? Also, what this does is it helps prevent hive pushes, and at the same time it helps you to build your own hive. So if you're building your second hive, if they're worried about recapping their RTs, they're not going to be pressuring so much, and they won't be able to afford the pressure. But also, Parasites... This is a point in the game where, like, I don't know, you should have a couple people parasited, but you don't have to rely so much on that, because the lerks could be able to give you a lot of information on their own, and you can see on the maps, and just keep your map open so you know where the open lanes are, where you might be able to get through, and use the vents. You know, if it takes a little bit longer, that's fine, but use the vents to get through on RTs. And at this point in the game, you can probably try and commit more on killing the RT and getting a parasite than you would at the early game. So, one of the tips I'll give you for when you're biting RTs is, let me take a room like Overlook. So say you're biting Overlook and you have a Marine coming from sub. Maybe I should talk to you about this later, but one of the tricks you can do is you bite the RT and you can hear the guy in West Junction moving from Skylights towards West Junction. And you'll be biting the RT until he gets about... You can use your sound and hear when he's about under the vent. That's when you pull off the RT and immediately, so you're biting, immediately come around the corner and jump him here, because he's expecting to come around the corner and shoot you off the RT. And when he comes around the corner, you're right in his face. So you want to pull off just before he rounds that corner and time it so that when he comes around the corner, that's when you're coming around the corner too. Now, sometimes that's not going to work. You can run into a shotgun, get one shot, that's fine. You know, at this point in the game, Marines are probably going to win the Skulk battles. The other thing that I talked about is the teamwork aspect that you need to be concerned with during mid-game. And what I mean by that is that you need to rely on your teammates, your lerks. And I'm saying this is basically before fades come up, because at this point you're most likely still to have some skulks on the field, and then fades come up, you're 1 or 2 less skulks on the field. But you want to use your lerks to get through on lanes, and you know, whether it's pack playing the RTs or just help letting them know, hey, I'm coming through left side, can you guys help me get through? Use them as distractions. Don't even try and engage the Marines at that point. All you're trying to get through is get through a lane with taking the least amount of damage possible. You're drawing the Marines back. Don't worry about engaging. You want to get the Marines. We'll talk about engagements later, but really, you know, the only engagements you should be taking are the ones at the RTs behind their lines. Or unless you're grouping up to clear a gate or something. Yeah, then you're going to pull back and help out with that. But until then, your main goal is to get behind your structure damage. And you know, it's not something that you need a lot of skill to do. You just bite an RT, you just need to know how to get through. No, Brian, I don't switch to Crush. Not even sure which one is that. Crush. I stick with Carapace. Yeah, I stick to Carapace when I'm betting RTs, because lots of the time you're gonna have to take an engagement to finish off an RT, or you're gonna need that extra health to get away. The only other thing I would use is regen. When you say you ambush the Marine, I'm sitting here in Overlook and I ambush a Marine right after he builds it, but he gets me down to like 20 HP. Switch to regen, get your energy back up, stay on regen until you finish the RT, and then switch back to Carapace when it's safe. When to engage. Okay, when to engage and when to hide after being pushed off an RT. Think you're saying you're biting an RT and a Marine comes to get you off the RT. Is that what you're saying? Like,
yes.
You just pull back. Depending on what's going on around you, if I have lurks that are in system and I'm in Overlook here, yeah, pull back and be like, hey, I have a Marine, I need some help with them, and just wait until your lurks are there. Once he hears the lurks, he's going to be more focused on them. That's when you go quiet. So if you pulled back and just hit up here, and he's somewhere in Overlook still waiting for you, you're welding the RT, that's when you start walking over to him. When you hear you see the lurks coming on West Junction or through sub, that's when you start sneaking, and you can sneak back to the RT and then wait for the lurks to get there, and you come from behind. Yeah. Let me see what questions here. Yeah, I mean, some people will switch to Crush. I don't, because I prefer to be able to take an engagement afterwards. And the extra health is really helpful to me. A lot of times I just stick with Carapace just because it's the best skill. And also, you know, you can take so much more damage. But yeah, so play off your teammates. And when I ask, like, if we're packing down an RT, we decide to, okay, so this is a common thing. So Marines just take Nano, you have a cargo hive, they have the whole left side capped. Maybe not sub, they have skylights and Urbo capped, and you're giving up Nano. So what you need to do, pack down the RTs, and you want to start with the ones farthest up. These ones, if you can pack it down quickly, all the ones behind it are going to fall too. So pack it down, and you and maybe another Skulk are biting an RT, and lurks are fighting Marines that are coming here. And you don't want to engage with the lurks until it gets to the point where you hear, when you're biting the RT, you should be able to hear the shots coming out from the Marines. So wait until they've spent about 65%, thirds of their ammo. That's when you're going to pull off, and if they need it, help them out, finishing off the Marines. The only time I wouldn't do that is if the RT is about 10%, you're not sure if you're going to win this fight, even if you pull off 10, 15, even 20%, I would say, stay on the RT. As long as you get the RT, then you won that fight engagement. You took away their res node. Yeah, that's the thing about Skulks, is most people play it, you know, just focusing on ambushing. Like, instead of biting the RT, what do? They wait for the Marine to come back, end up sitting here way too long. The RT could have been at 50% already, but you're stuck here. You go for the ambush, and you don't get it because you're there by yourself. Whereas, otherwise, you could have been biting here, ask one of your lurks to come, hey, I'm biting this RT, and I get some support. Lurk comes up, you're still biting it, they're focused on you, lurk gets a free bite or two on them. RT's down to 35%, they've spent half of their ammo, then you come up and help the lurk clear it, and then you've got the RT down, and both of you are still alive. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that. Right, and one more thing I want to say. So, when you are attempting to clear an important place like Nano, be the first one in, or no, how did I write this? Don't be the first person to die, be the first person to dodge when you go in. So you don't want to jump in, straight line, go for the first Marine you see. When you jump in, it all depends on timing. You don't want the lurks to take so much chip damage, you don't want them to absorb some of the bullets by, you know, flapping around and dodging. But at some point, you're going to be coming straight down this hallway. You're going to need to, you can't just straight line these Marines. You have to be able to dodge. If you're coming into Nano, do something that's going to throw them off. And if they spend half of their clip just shooting at you, that's going to give the lurks the space to shoot you. It's also going to waste their ammo. But you need to dodge when you're taking big engagements like that. And Nano's actually a really tough place. That's why it's really hard to clear early on, is because it's a big open room. And unless there's a lot of PV in there, clogs buttering stuff up, it's kind of hard for Skulks to get in there. But you can use what you can. You have some clogs here, you can dance around them. If the Marine's on the other side of this, you can dance around this. And use the Harvester to hide a bit. Wait for them to kind of spend their ammo. And once they do, you know, they might have 15 bullets left. But at some point you're going to need to engage because they're not going to waste all their ammo, or they're going to get reinforcements. Timing is a big important thing, especially in Nano, because you can have Marines rotating at any moment. But whenever they're at their weakest moment, that's when you have the advantage to try and win that fight. But you need to be able to dodge. Do that when you're taking a big fight. Now, I'm going to move on to late game. Now, I'm going to get into like taking engagements and stuff later, but I want to go over the role throughout the game first. So late game, parasites are the key. You need to have at least 3 people parasited, and a lot of times late game you're 1 or maybe 2 skulks on the field. So it's really, really important that you focus on getting those parasites. A lot of times you'll be playing Skulk and like you kind of just casually forget, oh, I should be parasiting really hard. Late game is when you need to be parasiting really hard. You can watch, there was a POV of Wob murking for us one time on this map even. It was like an hour-long game, and late game Wob was the only Skulk on the field. We had to clear a pipeline first, versus S&D. We had to clear a pipeline first, and when that happened, Wob came here, literally parasited 6 Marines that were here. I think he had 1 Marine that he parasited earlier in Nano. He was the only Skulk. He parasited the entire team. As soon as he did that, alright, I'm going on RTs. You know where everyone's at. You have leap at this point. You can get through. You have silence. You can get through wherever you want. Not hard to bite RTs, but you need to get the parasites first and know where the lanes are. Now the other thing, use vents to get around, bite res. Use silence. You don't have to worry about them. I mean, there might be observatories around. Jetpacks, you kind of just have to deal with, go through vents, and leap's the best thing that's going to help you. Now, when you are grouping, so at one point we had to call Wob back to help clear the hive push because the hive was down to like 40%. They had arcs, they had jetpacks, shotguns, and we need the entire team there to clear it. So the way you need to, your mind has to be set for taking those engagements is let your fades, let your lurks soak up all the bullets, and you need to listen to, here you might have 3 Marines shooting at once. Listen, try and focus in on one of them. So if there's an LMG, hear them spend 80% of their clip, that's when you want to engage. Wait for that moment, because they're going to be shooting, there's going to be crags, whips, all that other stuff that they're going to be shooting at. They have no option but to shoot it. Wait for them to spend their ammo, and once they're around 80% spent, that's when you engage. Leap on them, and don't... Ambushing doesn't work so well late game. You want to focus more on speed and surprising them at their weakest moments. So if you already sit here trying to get an ambush, no, they're going to see that. I'm going to drop down, maybe I'll get a bite, and there's going to be 3 other Marines looking at me. No, you have to wait until they spent their ammo, and then... How do I get biomass, like, full biomass so I can leap and... I can't even... Okay, now I have it. Well, I have leap now. Yeah, I got it all now. Okay, so wait until... Actually, late game, I tend to use silence more. Late game, you're already going to know it's going to take about... How did I switch to? Okay, so silence isn't working apparently. Anyways. Yeah, so late game you use silence more because most of the time the Marines at late game are going to take at least 4 bites to kill. So you already know that going in with aura. Your fades and your lurks are going to have aura. They're going to know which ones are targets. But you need to be the one that gets a lot of consistent biting down. And if you can sneak up on someone, you can easily get 3 bites on them before they can react. So use silence late game. And going back to what I was saying about not ambushing and just focusing more on speed and surprise, use leap. celerity and silence to wait for them to spend like 80% of their clip. Oh, now I don't even have leap. Now I have it. Wait till they spend it, then you jump in, and hopefully you land 2-3 bites. By this point, you're waiting. You know, they should have taken some chip from the fades, the lurks, and your gorge should be bio bombing throughout this. That's the other key thing is, like, if you don't have a gorge in these situations, shooting yourself in the foot, because most of the time the Marines cannot push around this corner very easily, so if you have a gorge constantly bio bombing them, now those Marines that are weapons 3, armor 3, jetpacks, now they're down to, now they're 2 or 3 bite Marines. That's doable. You want to make these situations more favorable for you as best as you can. Oh, and then one other thing I wanted to talk about, late game, when you're res biting, really easy, and it's somewhat effective, and it kind of makes them a little bit more BM. Tilt people is leading them on goose chases, make them chase you around the map. Easiest way to do this is, say we're biting topo. Marines probably at this point are going to come from like East Junction or Nano to clear you. So nothing wrong with jumping through their base, and even if there is a Marine, it's pretty easy to get through. Especially when you have leap, and just keep making them tick-tock on the map back and forth. And especially, you know, left side of the map, events, make them chase you, because if they have one Marine that's constantly off gates, constantly having to recap, that's one less person that's pushing your hive, one less person defending a gate, and that's when you're able to find the weak spot. The other reason why this is important to have one skulk on res at the whole time this late game is usually they're going to be pushing your hives with arcs or, you know, Marines with shotguns. This is going to destroy their economy. A lot of times during this point of the game, they'll do these 5 pushes on hives or whatever. That leaves your one skulk to bite their res, and they can go from having 7 RTs to having 2 RTs really quick. So want to have when you're clearing like zombie, a lot of times you have to commit a lot of your aliens to defend a hive. Make sure you have one skulk that's on res during that time. Well, so is staying skulk better than going Onos ever? I would say no. There's times where it's tough to go Onos. Like if you're a cargo hive and you have jetpackers, it's going to be easier to get kills as a skulk. But the Onos is so important to just blocking up lane. I mean, there's been times where I've held off and that's kind of just negligence, but the one thing you got to say is, like, have like 3 Onuses and it's late game, that's when it's kind of hard. Like, yeah, you can crush gates a little bit easier, but you're not going to have anyone getting through lanes and res boating at that point. So I guess if it thinks, yeah, there are times, yeah, definitely subbing to go to fade instead of going Onos to go fade. That's really helpful. So when they start getting jetpacks, that's basically the only time when you want to go fade over Onos. Especially if you're a cargo hive, you're gonna need the fades to defend that, because fades, when this happens, you need to have your fades be aggressive, getting down those jetpacks, cost them P-res while you have one skulk behind biting the res. The Onos isn't going to be very helpful other than crushing gates after you clear them. And like, that's a necessary part, but yeah, I would say when you're versing jetpacks, you want 1 Onos, 2 fades, a lurk, and a skulk, and a gorge. That's like the ideal comeback. Yeah. Now, switch to, can we switch to tram? Let me go over ambushing ghouls.
I just enable auto build and just click some upgrades. It's like 2 seconds. So what? The build. Just auto build.
Yeah, someone needs to hop in the hive. Auto build just makes it instant.
Yes, all upgrades are instant if you click.
Name's Frankenstein. Oops.
Let's move out.
Alright, so first of all, just going to go over some basic shit, mechanics of skulking. I play without view models on. It makes it a lot easier to see it when you're biting RTs, namely. So make sure you have view models off. Your parasite should be something, I mean, not be the same thing as your biting. I use Rantologies, which is a small green crosshair for parasiting, and then a round circle for biting. Now, FOV, I only recently switched to the highest FOV. I used to actually play with the lowest FOV till about not even a month ago, like 2-3 weeks ago. So the way I view the game looks a little different from how I'm used to. So my skulk, I don't know, like that's what I had said to Ola. Like I'm not completely comfortable with this FOV yet, but it does give you more like view of the rest of the screen, which will help you in situations. I don't think it matters all too much. It might give you a slight advantage though. Now, first thing that I think we should go over is how a skulk model looks on a wall. And the best way to do this is to use the third person view. So I'm staring at the wall here. I'm going to try and get absolutely centered. Alright, so that's the best I can do centered. I don't know which way I'm looking, but I'm going to look up slightly, and I'm going to turn the third person on. Facing upwards now. A little bit to the left. Let's look how that looks. Okay, now if I go a little bit to the left, it's going to turn my entire model left. Now it's entirely over to the left. Go all back over this way, and it's going to turn it all the way to the right now. Same thing, to the bottom. I'm facing down. So there's a huge difference between having your crosshair pointed slightly down, slightly up. Look how much different my model is going to be when I looking up a little bit more. So these are things you need to keep in mind when you're setting up ambush spots. Because if you're set up slightly in the wrong way, you're going to be exposed completely. So the best way I can show you this is a pretty decent ambush spot, but you know, a good Marine will check it. But if you're set up this way, see how that looks. Hard to tell. Alright, we'll face upwards then. Okay, so basically you're going to be facing down. It's hard to see from my POV. I'm sure you guys can see fine. But if you're set up from this angle, you want to be set up slightly looking down so you can see what's going on below you, but looking more towards a left or the right. More so the left. Because look, Now my model is now a lot more hidden than if it was facing down. You don't want to blatantly look straight down because that's going to be a shittier ambush. They're going to see your feet sticking out when they come. Set up a little bit. No, I'm talking about the model of my Skulk.
I can see it in first spec when I'm first specking him. It does change.
You look at you want to look at my stream. I turned on third person, and you can see how it looks at it from third person. So a lot more of my head is sticking out when I'm like that than when I'm like this. So you want to set up your ambushes where the least amount of you is sticking out. So when I ambush from here, I'm looking this way. I'm looking a little bit down so I can, if a Marine's sneaking, I can get a good drop on him. Alright, so one of the things you need to do, in order to set up a good ambush, you need to be paying attention to the sounds and your map. When general rule of thumb, and this isn't always the case, but if there's a lot of shooting and other skulks around you, you can be as loud as you want. But as soon as it gets quiet, that's when you need to start being quiet too. So if I'm like, there's a lot of fighting going on in hub, they're not going to be concerned. They're not going to hear me ping through, get behind the lodge. As soon as I get here, I don't know what's going on in shipping. There might be someone here. That's when you need to get quiet. Because there could be someone waiting for you, and if there is, you might want to listen for a second before you start biting. But bite the RT. And if you're setting up an ambush, it's even more important, because if they hear just the slightest thing, and especially if you're playing against a good player, like if you're playing against Heracles, he uses sound better than anyone else in this game. If he hears just the slightest sound of a skulk landing on a wall or something, hears that sound, he's gonna know something is there. So if you set up for an ambush here, you're gonna check that corner before he comes. And the way you get around that is you can use your teammates to help you make sound. So if you set up an ambush here, and then have your teammates run a little bit farther ahead, just to make more sound, like they're gonna attack, and then run all the way back, and then sit in the back here, parasiting or just creating a distraction, then your teammate that is ambushing up there is going to have a lot better chance of getting that pick from an ambush spot. Yes, I should... Oh, and I already talked about this earlier. How to kind of surprise a Marine that's already biting an RT. This is the perfect example because you have this vent here. So if you start biting an RT and repair, start biting it, get it down to like 40-50%, you hear a Marine going to be coming back from like ore or repair, and you want to bite Logi next. So you run the Logi, bite that. They're kind of expecting you to just keep bouncing back and forth between repair and Logi with the vent. You can throw them off by, once they come around, you bite this RT, and once they're just about here, like rounding this corner, again, hit them while time it so that you're hitting them right when they come around this corner. So you're biting, boom, 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 boom. Oh, you hear them coming? That's when you take the fight. You want the Marine to be right about here when you're coming around the corner, because this is going to surprise them. They're going to expect you to be back here biting the RT. Someone yawning? Yeah, he would hear you, Elite, but that's not the point. He's going to expect you to be running back to the vent. He's going to come around expecting to see you running that way, and by the time, he's not going to have time to react. I mean, a good Marine, Heracles, might bait you a little bit, but you should still be able to land some bites if they're on low health or something. I mean, trust me when I say that they're not going to be expecting you to be around the corner. So you fight. As soon as they're about to be here. So basically, I'm off the RT when I hear them around here, and I'm leaping towards this already. So they're running, and wherever they get here, I'm in their face already. You might not even need leap for this. Like a lot of times, you can do this in pods. Early game 2 is really easy because all you need to do is or you can, I always just parasite, push, fight. I mean, for the purpose of 90% of people, that's something that of, I call it TikToking between RTs. Instead of doing that, you can get a pick and stay on an RT and finish them off. A lot of times you have, the Marine will stay there and weld for a little bit, and then you're just like back and forth, and you're not doing anything effective. But if you get the pick, then you can get the RT and be effective. And going back to TikToking, this is something that Heracles had told me, or told Lucky Chams a while ago, was, and this is the perfect map for this. If you hold your map key, look at the map, think of the map as a clock. Big circle, start down at 6 o'clock is shipping, say that's where the Marines started. So, like a clock, it swings back and forth. So early game, you want to switch between crushing one side and crushing the other side. Crush one side, crush the other side. Hit their RTs like a clock, tick-tocking back and forth. Do this when lurks are up, by pack playing the RTs. But basically, if you can, same thing, and if you crush repair with two Marines in repair, you crush them all, push all the way up to logic, hit that one first. Pack play it down with your gorge even, you bring your gorge all the way up here, get the RT, run back, get repair. Now you're going to have 2 Marines recapping the left side, so take your tunnel back to Mez or wherever, back to server, switch over to the other side of the map, crush down repair, or crush down mezzanine, crush ET. You have the vents that can keep your lurks alive, have regen, but it's a really safe way to destroy the Marine economy. Just think of it like a clock. Okay. Working with teammates. Somewhat covered that already. There's a very good, I think Aqua 5 made a... Oh, fighting an RT. Let's see if I can drop an RT. Give extractor. Oh. Try that somewhere else.
Could just switch to Marine and quickly drop it as com, I guess.
Press. Just want to drop one, Mega? Drop observation.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay, so bomb biting here. I like to peek so I can see the corner when I'm biting it. You know, as Heracles said this before, when you're biting RT, you're not just focused on whatever's in front of you. You should be your eyes should be focused here, even if your crosshair is not. So I have that little crack open so I can see when a Marine is coming. So I'm biting it, and sometimes I'll just like peek back and forth like this. Like I can still see this crossway, so I know when the Marine's coming in. And if it's the same thing over here, you want to be peeking so you can see stuff and you can see when they're coming around a corner. Because a lot of times, you know, like when you're in observation right here, you're kind of trapped. Like there's no safe way out. So you want to be able to at least get the parasite. So when you're biting in RT, you see the Marine, take a second to break. get the parasite at least, and then once they're gonna spend some ammo trying to shoot you. So once they start doing that, use the angles of it to draw some bullets. So like if they're coming from there, depending on the RT, I might engage. If it's like 54% like it is now, I'm probably gonna try and take the engagement and see if I can clear the Marine. If it's down to 15%, you want to dodge around as much as you can. This is one of the safer spots. The Marine is going to come up and move around this way to try and clear you. Use this, be like right here. I'm basically covered from a wide angle. Person. Marine is not going to be easy for them to shoot me when I'm facing that direction. So I don't like test this out, but you can tell from looking underneath there's a lot of shit that's in the way, like this pipe, whatever this drill is. Use that to get around. They start moving around the side. Keep moving around in a circle, and sometimes you'll even jump up and switch over. But like I said, if it's 54%, when I see that Marine come around the corner, I'm biting. Trying to get him right as he comes around this corner and sees me. Oh, if I know Logi and Observation are both up, it's not really, one or the other. To me, it's more which one is easiest to get through to bite. A lot of the times, mid game, yeah. If you start in server, you're basically going for an ore tunnel, so you want to have more presence on Logi's side. I mean, it doesn't matter, because you're going to need Marines on both, you're going to need Skulks on both sides. You might be able to be more effective on the left side, but you're going to have more of a presence on the left side just for the simple fact that your tunnel's there. But you can still use south tunnels to get by, and you can run through the base to get into observation. Like if you're getting chased into Logi, fuck it, go through their base, go straight to observation. 90% of the time nobody's in base, go right through. What else? Yeah, and it comes down to the parasites. If you see 3 people pushing mezzanine, that means that probably maybe one guy hub, 2 guys repair, something like that. Pick the sides that you know are easy to get through. You have to be mindful of the presence of Marines on the map. That's really what it comes down to for picking RTs. You want to find the open lane, get through, fight whatever's there. You clear all of those RTs that are on the lane, go through base, go through wherever. You need to get through and bite the RTs. Really try to rotate, like if I'm coming Logi, running onto obs and vice versa. Yeah, if you know, a lot of times you can, just from the Marine presence, you can tell where, say if a Marine gets killed on ore, and you're trying to decide which area is going to be open. Well, if you see, Logi might not be the best choice, because if you see that guy get cleared in ore, well, he's going to respawn and he's going to try and fill the gap wherever that is. And if you have people pushing mezzanine, well, then you know that one guy's still in hub, kind of just like hailing around. So that Marine's going to go straight back to Logi, and you're going to have a hard time. So better thing might be to go to the opposite sense, to go to observation, get that RT. I mean, I guess I can cover just some basic, just getting around the map quick. Yeah, basically that's why Skulk parasiting, that's a huge aspect of the Skulk throughout the game is getting the information for the rest of your team. And, you know, you can get that information from lerks and stuff like that too, but Skulks are much better at it. But yeah, get this Parasites and... Oh. Megan, can you drop this RT?
Sure.
There's some tricks to making sure that you have the best chance of biting some RTs. So when I'm biting Logi, for example, there are like better ways to bite it. I always bite it sitting on top because... Fuck. Drop that again. Or something like that. I bite it from the top because from this point you can see the Marines coming through both ends and you have the glass to protect you. Now when you see 90% of the time the Marine's going to come from shipping if you're biting Logi. So when you see him come, pop out for a second Parasite. If you don't get the Parasite, keep going for it until you get it. Then you can use all this area. Just get up here and you be quiet. You know, you're gonna know where he is, and if it's one-on-one, this is like you have the advantage here. You know, if he has to pull another Marine over there, even better, because now there's 2 Marines searching for 1 Skulk. But you get that Parasite, now he's gonna be sitting somewhere over here, waiting for you to peek, or he might even dedicate himself to one side. And if he does, all you have to do is just pull off, start biting the RT some more. But if he's just sitting there waiting for you, and you know, just stay quiet. Don't give him any hints of where you're at. Once he starts moving over to the RT to bite it or weld it or whatever he's gonna do, make your way around. So you have a pretty good shot. And if he's welding it, that means he's gonna have to switch to his weapon. And if he's just like camping and wasting his time, good. You're doing your job then. But yeah, be quiet until you know that a disadvantage. So the disadvantage is this, is if he starts shooting, wasting ammo, or if he's welding. If he's welding, then that buys you an extra bite, basically. So wait for that to happen, then engage.
So quick question.
Yeah.
Wasting the time of Marines, I think it's dependent on the ratio between your economy and their economy. What do you think on that?
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, if they have 7 RTs,
yeah, it isn't worth.
They have 3, you're saying?
No, if they have 7 RTs and you have 2 or 3, then it's not worth to waste the time of a Marine as a Skulk.
Right. And that's the other thing. It's like what I was saying before. If depending on the situation, like biting, when I was saying back in observation, whether I would take the fight or whether I would try and finish off the RT. I mean,
okay, if you want to make a push somewhere, it's maybe worth as well, but...
What?
If you plan to push on a gate or something, maybe it's worth then to assign that 1 Marine to you.
Yeah, but when you're down 7 RTs, I think that case... So if I'm in these situations where like they're close to jetpacks, where they already have them, and you're just stuck biting RTs, and they have someone that's constantly defending, I think I would just continue to bounce between the RTs. Like Logi to observation is pretty good. Keep bouncing back between them, and overall you should be able to win that. The economy right there, like it's gonna be slower, but you're also keeping someone off, and you are gonna eventually get the RTs doing that. And if they, you know, at some point they may just be like, fuck it, let you bite, because their commander's calling them to push, and they already have 7 RTs. They're gonna, at some point, they're gonna draw back, I would say. Okay, and then I guess we can talk about, I know someone wanted to talk about how to take on shotgunners. So, only a few situations where you're ever going to want to take on a shotgun one-on-one. So, I mean, I don't think it's the most important thing. Like, one-on-one, that shotgunner should win 99% of the time. Well, that's a little exaggeration, but they should win those fights, so don't expect to win those all the time. And, you know, there's some tricks that you can do to try and win it, such as ADing. But while you're doing that, like, if you guys saw Heracles' Marine video, he talks about how, you know, they can do all the ADing they want, but if they're not, if he's backing up constantly and you're not getting any close to him, you're not going to land any bites. So the ADing thing, yeah, that's helpful, but it's not exactly what you need to do. You need to be, like, making progress. So, like, you want to move up while you're doing it. And, like, I think Golden explained this to me one time. Basically, like, you need to make progress because he's just going to constantly make up space for your ADing. You're never going to get to him. So I think he had talked about, like, pushing up with ADing. But I don't know. I think the most important thing about taking on a shotgun is wait for your teammates unless you have to engage. Like, the times that you have to engage are when you're defending life forms, you're defending your gorge tunnel, or a hive. Yeah, you're gonna have to engage. But yeah, wait for your teammates, wait for them to spike them down, and let them soak up the bullets. Wait for them to use most of their ammo, and just when you're going in, make it fast. Make it fast. Try and stay on the ground. Taking on shotgunners on the ground is a lot harder than taking on a shotgun diving at you. Someone go alien as a skulk. I'll just show you what I mean. Skulk's on the... even give myself a shotgun. I don't know, Mega, I guess go Skulk. Come Tub. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jumping is not good. So, if you're jumping at me, then you're gonna be in my crosshair. Jump at me. Now I don't even have to aim. You're aiming for me by jumping into me. You're on the ground, that's when I have to aim. Like, stay on the ground and just AD. Yeah, see, now I have to actually aim. And if I'm a dumb Marine, then I'm gonna start shooting, and you're gonna be able to take me. But as Heracles said, like, that's not how you're supposed to take a skulk anyway, so back it up, try and get their backside. Turn. Now, I guess from long range, you're gonna have to wait for your teammates. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Now, I just want to go over picking up speed. Turn on debug speed. I'm not even sure what the max speed for scopes are. That is not doing it. 5. Yeah, so upgrades aren't working for some reason.
You didn't build any spurs or anything?
Yeah, let me do some.
Dumb. Okay, so when you're moving around the map, trying to get around, you always want to be jumping off walls, and I hold crouch basically the entire time, my crouch button. So starting in server, I can get down to Logi pretty quick by doing this, and kind of learn the best pathways for doing this the more you play. But if you just watch Skulk, you know, a high player Skulk get around the map, you can see what they're doing. So I'm just gonna run through the map a couple of times and see how I'm getting around using the walls. I mean, this is something you can do when you're waiting for a game to start in the gather or whatever. Jump around the map. Like, I always find myself like practicing random shit, waiting for the game to start because they take forever. And this is probably one of the best things you can practice, other than jumps on Marines. But having this high speed, if you're trying to take any game, if you're backing up with a teammate, if you're coming in at this kind of speed, Marine's not going to have a lot of time to react, and if they miss their first shot, that's like game over for them. Yeah, this whole time I haven't let go of crouch. You want to minimize the amount of times you touch the ground. You want to be on the walls the majority of it. And you never want to hit the ground more than once in a row, because then you lose your momentum. The times when I... Do I parasite? No, what do you mean, do I parasite it? Yeah. Like, but it gets to the point, like, Veil is a map where it's kind of hard to get the intel on how many RTs are up, and you have to you start making assumptions. So yeah, parasiting RTs is helpful, especially, you know, it'll give you. When I see a extractor that's parasited, it tells me that one of my skulks has already been working on that RT, so it's probably low or taking some damage. If it's like 75%, that's enough if you get there without any Marine seeing you to finish off that RT. So I mean, I do it. It's also, you know, just best practice, so people know which, you know, they don't waste time going to an RT that is not built or something. But yeah, times when I'm leaping while I'm doing this, it's when I start to lose momentum or I don't have a wall close to me, like here. So I want to get a little bit extra distance just to reach the other wall without losing any momentum. I mean, I don't think this is something you need to go that much detail on, but being able to storm into a fight, especially like, there are times when I just do, like, I call it YOLOing, and it seems to work a lot of the time just because people don't expect you to be coming in with that kind of speed. Now, if it's an LMG, that's when you can win this fight, but if it's a shotgun, yeah, you might get one shot because, again, like I said, you're going to be on the walls, you're not trying to avoid the ground, and when you're on the walls, that means you're more up in their face so they can easily one-shot you. But this is something you could do, like, first engagement, if you get the Babblers, you can bomb in with them, and another thing that Golden showed me a while ago, going through hub, like say you start server, if you want to safely make it through hub, like you can bomb in with those Babblers by doing this. Just bomb in. I could have jumped off a little bit earlier, but use your surroundings to your advantage. But I think the two most effective, like, taking engagements things is to try and hit the Marines just before they expect it. They're coming through a gateway or, you know, a door like this. You want to hit them not when they're here. Hit them when they're about here. Timing is everything. If you have a parasite, that's like 10 times easier. And you can tell, you know, so I don't know if people saw the clip of me getting Heracles. If they suspect that someone is in there and they're checking all their corners, they're going to bait once, twice, maybe 3 times before they actually come around and you need to do your ambush. They are just running straight from observation or straight from shipping. No one has been biting anything. You can probably engage a little bit later. Or, I mean, you can engage the first time they come around. But if they're taking their time, you might want to wait a couple times before you actually engage. Alright, when leap is up, I tried to go on RTs with enough energy to bite it. Still have 1 leap left off of it. Ideas. Depending on the situation, yeah, you might want to save some. Like, if you know you can't win a fight here, you might want to save just so you can get out quicker. No, never adrenaline. Never. Always celerity. Yeah, I forgot what I was just talking about a minute ago. Oh, I wanted to talk about ambushes more. Okay, so when should you drop from an ambush? If there's 2 Marines coming, never drop on that first Marine. Wait for the second one. And if the first Marine looks up at you, yeah, you're fucked. But most of the time he's not so much worried about the ambushes as much as the person behind him is. Because he's trying to make the pushes, and he kind of wants to draw the skulks onto him. So if you drop on him, it's exactly what he wanted to. Anyways, that means that the Marine behind him is going to clear that for him, and then he's just going to get meted and weld it back up. The reason you wait for the second one is he's the one that you have to be worried about. The guy that runs by you, that's fine. He's just going to be like, where the fuck did that come from? Second Marine, that's the guy you want to drop on. I try to drop on Marines just about... If he was walking through here, I want to drop on him right about here, right about now. That's when I want to land on him. Rise the fuck out of him. Take, that's what Heracles talked about. Yeah. Crouch to drop. Yeah, you hold crouch. Ambushing the whole time. All you have to do is press crouch, drop. Don't worry about parasiting. When you're doing the ambushes, you don't have to worry about parasites. You are using the sound, and hopefully they're already parasited, but if I were to parasite and then drop, that gives them the entire time it takes me to drop to react. So, never parasite. I don't even worry about parasiting during the fight, like the whole fight, parasite, fight. Just try and get as many bites as you can on them. Playing against good commanders, they're still going to land meds, so you need them out the most DPS to win that fight. And like the whole point of ambush is that they get the kill, not to get the parasite. And then make sure after you, if you lose a fight, an ambush, or any kind of fight or whatever, make sure you're telling your teammates, alright, I got two bites on that guy. If someone else says, oh yeah, I got a bite on him too, that means that guy's running around with no armor and he's now ambush target. And you want to take care of him before he gets welds. If you have like a lurk that's hovering around, oh yeah, he's got no armor, go kill him. You clear from him. All they need to do is just like spike him like 3 times and land 2 bites. Easy. The commander cannot save them from that. Is there anything else you guys wanted me to cover that I haven't hit on yet? I'm starting to run out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Open engagement.
What's
Phantom
that?
versus Aura. I feel like everyone uses Aura. And I think like if the whole team has Aura, then somebody could use Phantom or something else.
I mean Phantom.
What?
I think Vampire is?
Yeah, Vampirism then.
Oh, and it leeches health. I didn't even know it did that.
No,
I never used
You
that.
can see it.
Never used it because you have...
Experienced Marines can see the outline
Yeah.
of the scope.
Look,
So it doesn't
I'll show
really
you.
help.
Yeah. third person just so people on stream can see it. Oh, I can't. Well, someone else will have to go skulk. Oh, it's, you know, someone go skulk and get vampirism. Go marine. Mega handshake. Go, and you can try and hide. Yeah, you can see the outline. Anything that throws off this game a little bit, you're going to be able to see. And the reason I think that's just kind of like a gimmicky skill is you have a shade that can give you that exact same ability. So if you wanted to do that, just use the shade. The others, like, Carapace, always never go with regen unless you're already low. You don't want to... Carapace just gives you way more survivability, especially early and mid-game. Crush, I don't bother switching because I want to be able to... Like I said, I try and take more engagements off an RT. If I don't think I'm going to be able to finish off the RT, I'm going to take that engagement. So I want to be able to potentially win those engagements one-on-one. That's what makes a good skulk, is the skulks that can get behind on res and win those one-on-one engagements.
What's worth keeping in mind is Crush is really good with aura, because it's easier to avoid the marines if you really need to just get res there. Like on Vale, for example, there's a good map for that, where it's harder to get through lines if they have good gates.
I would also argue that Crush gets better the more aware your skulk is of their surroundings, and the better your team is at scouting and stuff. If you can evade marine, yeah, but if you're good at evading marines and hopping between RTs, then Crush will net you more. Like if you don't need to take the fight.
For me, Carapace makes you more versatile, and so for me, I never use Crush. Carapace, you know, I think if you need to pull off, a lot of times you'll be biting, like if I'm biting repair and someone says hub is open, your hub, I want to be able to pull off and support your team, because like by the time you get there, there's going to be marines that are back there, and you're going to be able to take fights. Like to me, just the versatility of Carapace is more useful. Like survivability is way more useful than be able to, like, you're still, it's not like you're not doing a ton of damage with Crush, without Crush.
You bite no res when you're dead, it's basically...
Yeah.
User joined your channel.
And Aura...
POV.
User left your channel.
Game, like I said, I stick with Silence. You might want to use Aura. If you're defending at Hive, yeah, you might want to use Aura. But if you're out biting res, Silence is going to get you around easier. You're spawning into your hive that's already being attacked, yeah, use Aura, that way you can find the marines that are already hurt and just call out that target. Like, oh, go on the LMG, he's about to reload, jump on him. Don't even call it. I mean, me, you go on the marines that are low on ammo. You don't go on the marines that are holding back and holding their ammunition. So that's one of the key things you want to take from today. Go for the marines that wait for them to waste their ammo. Give yourself the advantage. I think he's just trolling in my stream. Anyways, anything else? I thought, Mega, did you have something mentioned?
Yeah, team engagement. Like, we have been talking so much about Skulks, but Skulks engage team, right?
Engagements? Is that what you said?
Team engagement.
Okay, so after this session's over, I want everyone to find Aqua 5's video with like Alf speaking on team engagements, because it's actually a really well-made video on how to take engagements with your teammates that I think was it like Flightless Lerks or something put together. Is that what it was? Anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it would be Flightless Lerks when they run into.
Yeah, so basically you use your teammates to fight or to get stuff down. So if you are biting, if one teammate biting an RT, your other teammate is where the marines are going to be coming, waiting for them to come. So you have a marine biting mezzanine right now, and they're spawned in server, or they're, they have a Marine in server. You want to set up in front of the RT, so when he's coming around, he's focused, all of his attention is on that Skulk that is biting mezzanine. So you set up an ambush in front of that, so he's going to have to go through you before he gets to that. So you're saying, alright, fight the RT, I have an ambush. So as soon as that Marine starts moving the server, you drop and get the ambush on him. While that happens, like, your teammate should be cognizant of where the Marine is. So he's going to pull off as soon as he sees you, hears you, drop down. And so first thing the Marine's going to do, he's going to turn around and try and take off that Skulk that ambushed him. While that's happening, Skulk that was biting mezzanine is also pulling off, and now he's got Skulks on both sides. That's your best chance to do everything. You got to use your teammates. Same can be said. Megan, did you mean like pack playing? Is that what you meant by teammate engagements? Like how to clear things?
Both. Like, for example, you want to
clear a
room,
gate,
right?
maybe.
For example, you want to get Nano back or something, you go in with the Skulk back because they're rushing it early. Not a situation that doesn't happen often. So, you're going in, right? But you can do some more, like first Skulk not going straight to the target and stuff.
The thing is, it's not entirely a Skulk skill, that's like a team play skill, you know? You gotta know what your role is and what your teammates are trying to do.
Alright, so generally, when your team is strong, and you can do this in gathers. It doesn't have to be like a team that has like a Div 1 team. Doesn't even need to be that. All you need to say is, alright, we're gonna take this engagement, we're clearing from the left, clear from the left, clear from the left. So what that means is you're everyone that's going in. So say you're what's a good place to do this? Say you're clearing repair or something. I don't know. For some reason. You say clear from the left. Say there's two Marines, 3 Marines in repair, all by the RT. Say clear from the left, so you're all focusing on the Marine on the left. Farthest to the left. Now when you're doing that, you don't want to be straight lining. So jump in and use the walls. And then like, you can juke them. Basically, when you are juking, the Marines are wasting their ammo on you, and it allows the rest of your team to get in and get bites. So if you're the first one in, you're always juking. And it's, it doesn't have to be a lurk to be the first one. It doesn't have to be a Skulk person, but whoever is first needs to dodge. If you're the last Marine, you can probably straight line straight in, because at that point they're all focused on other targets, and usually it's the last Skulk that dives in that's cleaning up all the kills, because he's able to just go straight for the target. He can see which targets his teammates are focusing on, and you want to go for the same target. If no one's making a call clear from the left, look as you're diving in, look to see what Marines are already being targeted by your team. It might not be the person that's being parasited either, so don't just go for the first person that's parasited. If you're diving in, you should be able to see what is going on in that fight. So your eyes the entire time are focused in on what is going on. So when I'm jumping and I'm right here, my eyes are focused right in what's going on in this area. And I might be looking this way, be checking, see if anyone's rotating while this is happening. But the entire time, I'm focusing on who is being attacked. You want to go for the same exact targets. This isn't even just like a Skulk skill. This is a skill for playing fades effectively or lurks effectively. There's 2 people to clear. Look for the one that's already taking damage and go for that guy. Don't go for the guy who's shooting him off him. Go for the same targets. Focus the same targets. I mean, that's the best I can say about team fights is like, if you're first one in, you're dodging. Even if the second person might have to dodge shoot, because they will bait some bullets at you and that person has to pull off for a second, and the next person gets focused, that person pulls off. By the time 3rd, 4th Marine or Skulk is there, that's when they have created enough distance for the other people to get in and get some clear bites. That's when you, after you dodge, then you re-engage while your teammates are already in there. Does that make sense? I don't know, Mega, is that kind of what you want to hear?
Pretty much what I want, yes.
Alright. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I was actually sort of serious with my remark, is that my team actually does have the trouble when they're pack playing, that since they all have different speeds and sometimes they screw up and still slow down, and we often run into each other.
Okay,
or we
so
want to use the same
another thing you can do with your team is, and if just going back to that S&D map with that I had Wob, I was talking about Wob's point of view. You can see us call in during this fight. So when we need to clear a hive, we're saying, all right, wait for the lurk. Everyone go in with the lurk. So if everyone's set up, so if we're clearing repair, and we have a couple of skulks, like a skulk, a lurk, just sitting back here waiting to engage, and you see a lurk from warehouse coming. It's like, all right, guys, we're gonna engage when the lurk gets here. So you all have your mini map open. You're looking for the lurk on your screen. Once he gets to you, that's when you go full speed, all of you, same exact time. So call whoever, you might want to call the first person to engage, and it doesn't have to be the last person there. That's just a good rule of thumb because you won't have anyone that's trailing behind at that point. But you might want to use all right, let the fade engage first, or let the lurk engage first.
It's not necessarily lagging behind. Let's for example say that you're in warehouse and want to go to shipping as a pack. You take the same route, and sometimes they want to take the same points in the environment to speed up, and you're bumping into each other because one skulk is better at wall jumping than the other, and sometimes even the more experienced players make mistakes and slow down, so we're not maintaining speed because we keep hitting each other while we try to, get shipping. More like a travel problem rather than an engagement problem.
So traveling as a pack, basically?
Yes.
Well, if it's all skulks, kind of just gotta split up, and you're rounding the corner. Like again, if you're the person that's way in the front, you need to be aware that your teammates are not all with you. So keep your map open while you're doing it. You can jump around the map and tap C. Like I use C to see my map. You can see where your teammates are, and if you're way ahead, you know that when you get there, you need to slow it down. And then once you are there, you're going to be the first one in. That means you're dodging. So you want to bait out some bullets before this engagement starts.
What do you think is the most ideal space between skulks? Because they're sort of close to hitting each other, and that's slowing you down because you're colliding.
I mean, it's kind of what you're saying is like going down a long hallway, which in those cases, if you're all going through the long hallway like that, the assumption for me is that it's already cleared.
Yes.
So, I mean, it doesn't really matter because you don't have anything to worry about with getting shot. You just have to make sure you're timing it. All right, wait for, you can get to wherever you're going and stop and just wait. If someone's way behind, just wait. Don't engage, just wait till they get here, and you say, all right, go when Mega gets here, go now. Mega gets here, engage, go. I mean, it sounds like you're saying like base hits. Is that what we're talking about?
It's basically like while you're traveling, if the skulk in front of you, if he makes a mistake or is slightly slower, and if you're farther, you eventually will catch up to the skulk in front of you. But if you collide with that skulk, hit him, you slow down because you're hitting something.
I mean, that really shouldn't. It doesn't really have an effect on the outcome of whatever you're trying to accomplish, because if your point is to pack down something, then if it's clearing a room to pack down it, then you're gonna have to wait anyways. Like you're waiting to engage, like I'm saying. And
right, so it's less important than what I think it should be.
The thing that's important is to engage at the same time. The traveling, it doesn't really matter as long as you get in there. I mean, the faster you can do it, the better, but it's not gonna harm you.
All right.
To have to wait before you engage. Like if they're all over repair room and you're trying to clear it from ore, you group up and then say, all right, go on this person. Whenever this person gets here, go. So I say like, go on springs, or like let the gorge push the corner first. And I guess that's something I didn't really talk about is using your gorge. Like I've had the luxury of having like some of the best gorge as a teammate. Like I had Turts and Heracles and Golden as gorges. Golden, these gorge, but use them to your advantage. Let them engage first. They have way more health than you. They can heal and they can get out of engagements really fucking quick. So let them soak up damage. This is like, again, you make the Marines give you the advantage by putting themselves in a bad position, wasting their ammo. So let them soak up some damage. And a lot of times, like when they see the gorge, they won't even shoot it because they know that gorge is just there to bait bullets. So they won't even shoot it, which means that gorge is free to just spit at them the entire time. So they'll take some chip damage with, you know, at worst. At best, they'll unload half their clip on the gorge, and the gorge will get out, and they put themselves at a disadvantage. Right, Star Stairs was just saying how you can bite an RT down quicker by evolving the Crush and re-evolving the Carapace. Problem with that is, like I said, if you get engaged, if a Marine gets there in time, doesn't matter. You're not gonna have time to re-evolve back in the Carapace. The point is to have Carapace while you're biting RT, while the Marine is back there engaging.
I would argue
that's the assumption that you're gonna get the RT no matter what.
I would argue that it's only worth it to get Crush if you either get out in time to go to another RT or get it before the Marine's there.
Yeah, before the Marine is there and before you can re-evolve. But again, you're like, it's just like a waste of time.
No, I mean not even swapping out Crush, just keeping it and just evading Marines altogether.
No. To me, I think you want the
if you parasite,
every time.
the Fates and the Lurks can take care of the Marine because he's parasited, and you just keep cycling through the RTs to, you know, damage. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't play high div, so.
Okay. Let's see. What about Crush early game and Carapace? Sarah? I guess Carapace for middle and late. No, always Carapace early. Early game, especially, you want Carapace. Before Marines get weapons upgrades, before they get shotguns, Carapace is like the most effective upgrade. It's the best upgrade a Skulk can have. Way better than Celerity, way better than Aura or Silence. Carapace is by far king for Skulks. I mean, we could test it out. Someone want to go Marine?
I guess I'll do it then.
Go Marine, just shoot me. Honey. No, wait.
Do you actually want to count bullets, or should I shoot slower, or?
Can. How many bullets is that?
That was around 40 in the magazine, so just 10 bullets, I think. 10 or 11.
Alright, now this is with Carapace.
Oh yeah, there's more already. Yes.
I mean, instead, like, just take my word for it. Carapace is king. Always use Carapace as Skulk. unless you need to regen. I mean, if you are setting your mind of using Crush, go for it, but to me, it makes you less versatile. Only other thing I could show you are some ambush spots. Good places to ambush on, like, really places. And like I said, like, you need to be able to set an ambush. Like, you going straight up to an ambush spot and just camping there, you want to be as effective on the field as possible. So if you're stuck waiting for someone to come to you and they just turn around or they don't push, they're just holding lanes, you're accomplishing nothing. So you want to make your ambushes like in places that you know Marines are going to push. So if a Marine is just laning repair, you're sitting here for 2 minutes waiting for them to push, not doing much. Like, you want to have a lot of structure damage per minute. Think of it like that, like not per life, per minute. So you can set picks by using your teammates to try and bait them into you. So if you're sitting here setting up an ambush, have one of your Skulk friends come and parasite the Marine and run back and just run away, because that might entice the Marine to push up. Oh, the Skulk is there, now I can push. He ran away, I heard him. Like, he's thinking like I just did like 70 chip damage, he's running back to the hives to heal. I heard him run away, so now I can push. Well, now he's just gonna probably run right up there, and then you have a good ambush. As long as that Marine didn't hear you get into position, then you should be good. And this is what I was talking about, like, Marine hears you fall, like, hears that sound, I think someone's up there and ambushing. So you might want to, running here, stop there, and then go up. If it's dead silent once you stop walking, and you don't know what's going on in there, it's probably not going to be a good ambush. And as long as you're walking from anywhere, you can fall safely and not make any noise. So
shadows. People often forget about shadows.
that used to be a problem with lerks. Lerks, they're floating around. They have a hissing sound.
Oh, that was so fun to hear that sound, and I just turn around and shoot that silent lurk in the face with a shotgun.
User disconnected
Yeah,
from your channel.
it's
The
random.
growling, the growling you hear as a Skulk, though, it doesn't. Marines can't hear it. It's dead. Ears. Like me walking around, when you hear that growl right there, that the Marines don't hear that. Dead silent this whole time. If you're, you don't have to worry about that. I don't know what else to talk about. If you guys have more questions, shoot.
Nothing pops to mind at the moment.
So one thing I would practice, and you can do this in pubs, is doing the thing where you're biting extractor, and you want to pull off the moment they're coming around that corner where they can see you. Or not pull off, you want to be in their face the moment they come around to see you. Like, this, if you watch like Shu or someone stream in a pub, he does this constantly. You just bite the RT. As soon as he hears the Marine moving, you can hear him from about here. As soon as you hear him coming back, you hear him. About here, that's when you pull off, and that's when you jump in front. Do that. You're right in his face, and like, how long did that take me to do that? Like 1 second, not even a second. Not gonna have time to react to it. He's gonna expect you to still be biting this RT, or he's gonna expect you to be running away. Not gonna be expecting you to be right here when he comes around the corner. And it's not about when you come around the corner. When you're here, it's already gonna be expecting you to be somewhere here. It's not gonna be expecting you to be in the doorway as soon as he gets up these steps. So practice doing that. Practice Do this in gathers. Just practice if you're first one into an engagement. Practice dodging. Use the walls. And use like a combination of like jumping, like abusing the railings, stuff like that. And then once you know that there are like 65, 70% of the clip has been spent, or even 50%, like they're gonna, you know, if you hear them reload, that's when you want to engage. Get them when they're at their weakest. Like, Marines should win one-on-ones in this game, especially against Skulks. So you have to use every advantage you can to Skulk. So you abuse your model, stuff like that. You abuse hitboxes, make sure you have parasites, and you gotta use teamwork to get picks. That's about all I got for you. I mean, if there's any last minute questions?
Yeah, I mean, if you engage a pack of Marines, is there anything you prefer, like killing the shotgun first, the rifle first, or is it just positioning?
Targets, call your targets, clear left to right, clear from the left, clear from the right, wherever it is. Clear whoever's parasited, go for the shotgunner. Like, you have to, someone has to make a call, and once you start doing that, if you're the person that's making the calls, then you're gonna do a lot better as long as your team is listening. I mean, this is kind of why a lot of people don't like playing gathers that are higher level, because you can call targets and people won't go for the targets you're calling. And that's why, like, when I was playing with Lucky Gems, we had a lot of non-verbal communication that we just instinctively went for the same targets. It's based off of like, all right, I'm like the last skulk into this fight. I see what's going on, getting attacked, pulling out of a fight, whatever. Go for the Marine that is taking the damage. Go for the targets that are already being harassed. Yeah, that's about it. I guess I will upload this to YouTube NSL